Podcast 103. My computer blew up. I'm drinking coffee. Chris just got back from hunting, and I have two announcements. What up?
So it was 13 degrees here this morning. The real feel was 3. We opted to go to the heated shanty.
And you saw a one-legged bearded hen.
A one-legged bearded hen. She had 2 legs, but she was only using one.
Interesting.
Snuck in on us. How does a one-legged bearded hen sneak into the food plot on you?
Because that's the exact reason what I've been telling you. You're blind.
Stealth mode. I'm
Blind.
thinking she. I'm thinking she was roosted somewhere right there and just glided in,
You're
and we
blind,
never
and
heard her.
Logan was sleeping.
He was sleeping. He was trying to. He was trying to. I kept him in the window.
You kept waking him up.
So anyhow,
Yeah.
today we're going to do something a little different, and I'm hoping it's fun for all. We're going to ask for some viewer comment.
This was
Some
this was Chris's idea, so if you guys think it's dumb,
Yeah,
blame him.
yeah. If it blows up, blame me. But it's wonderful. I
I,
got a
th-
lot of
I
comments on
hey,
the last video that said that they liked it.
I know.
You know, so
About
that
time you
worked
have
out
an
pretty
idea.
good. So today we're going to talk about things from the past. Let's just make this fun. Things from the past, things, products, um, in the industry that are either no longer used or no longer needed.
Okay.
Now, I know, let's preface this video. I know we're going to get a lot of people say, "Oh, I still use that," or "I still have one of those,"
Yep.
that type of thing. But this is a compiled list of things that I thought of that I either had in my own personal arsenal that's locked up in a closet somewhere that I don't use anymore. But
Well, I didn't make a list, but so I'm gonna
yeah,
wing it.
I surprised
But
Dave with this, so he's gonna be spitballing as we go. So
yep. But before we start, two announcements real quick.
two
It's gonna
announcements.
take 2 minutes. Number one is I posted something on YouTube a little while ago. I have 4 spots left for consulting for
Mm,
2025. I'd like them spots to be in Pennsylvania. So I have four. Then I'm booked for the rest of the year. I can no longer take any more trips. Hopefully, I want them to be in Pennsylvania because I have other ones booked in PA. So I'd like to, if I can, hit those, while I'm in that area, back to back. And if they're close to Chris's house, Chris will tag along with us. So, you're
it'll
in,
cost you a candy bar.
yep, you're in Jefferson County, right?
Yep.
All right. So if anybody's in Jefferson County needs consulting, you can get both of us. So that's 4 spots left. Number two announcement is moving into 2025. Me personally, I am no longer working with any company. As everybody knows, over the past few years, I have slowly dwindled that down. And right now, I'm only working with two companies. 2025, zero. It's nothing against those companies. It's just my personal decision, and I won't get into too much detail on that. But I still 100% highly recommend Domain. I still highly recommend the Limit Shield. I still will use them products. I will still physically buy those products, but it's not. I just don't have that obligation anymore to, like, I guess, promote them. Under an exchange of a deal or whatever. So, Chris, you're still working with Domain. We kind of work with them separately, and Chris will still be working with whoever that he wants to work with. So it's just my personal decision, and we'll still be on this podcast probably talking about Domain because
Yeah,
that's what.
using them and talking about them.
Yeah,
And yeah,
it's just I don't have that obligation anymore to promote. I'm moving on from all of that. I've done it for 8 to 10 years now, and it's just not what I want to do anymore.
you're wore
So
down.
we're out. I want to take my time and focus and make other videos and just that I don't have an obligation to promote a certain company.
Okay.
End of
Well,
story.
if we're gonna make announcements, I might as well announce this now too. Um, my personal channel, City Sticker Chris, City Sticker, will be on two different channels on Roku now. So Roku channel has a platform called Backroads Television, I believe it's called. Backroads Outdoors Television, and the other one is called American Angler Television. So if you Google those two, if you have Roku or whatever, uh, my channel will be on there, and they're looking to be able to broadcast these podcasts on there as well. So you will be able to check my channel and some of these podcasts on there. Now, not all my content will be on there. These channels kind of pick and choose what they stick on. If you go to Backroads Television right now on Roku, they have, I think, 6 of my videos up, and they're just random. One's cooking, one's hunting, just random stuff that they picked. And the other, American Angler, they have like I said, they have their own genre stuff. It's mostly angling, but they're going to have a genre for hunting, and he's really interested in the podcast. So coming soon, those will be up and running, and I need to get a hold of that fella and ask him why they are not up yet. But we've got to get this stuff rolling out for 2025. You'll be able to watch that on those Roku channels. You can PM me or comment for more information on that. I just wanted to go ahead and make that formal now so folks can start looking for it. So anyhow, let's get into 103, Dave.
Do it. Start it up.
Episode 103. I have a whole list of stuff that I was thinking about while I had lots of time on my hands to when I'm welding to think. And I was spitballing myself there one day, and I thought, here's a few things. Like I said, I got a whole list, so I'm just going to give you no particular order. One of the things that you do not see a lot anymore, and I know that someone's going to say, oh, we still do that, is drives, hunters driving. Like you used to see groups of 20 people get together on a roster in Pennsylvania, and these folks would drive out patches of woods and have standers, and they would drive deer to them and shoot them up. That is one thing that you do not see a whole lot of anymore. Now, I know for bear hunting, folks get together and they do this kind of thing. I'm not saying it's no longer needed. I'm not saying it's no longer used. I'm saying you very rarely see it anymore. I think there's just such a decline in population of people that are hunting anymore. That is one thing. How about a compass? You no longer need a compass. Somebody has a cell phone, they have Hunt Stand or Onyx or something like that, Cell phones, that changed the world, and that'll get to some of the other things that I have on my list, but a compass is no longer needed. And to be quite honest, if I had to rely on a compass, I'd get lost all the time. I'm just being honest. How about a hot seat? People go into the woods with that hot seat hanging off their belt clip, I can't see it, Dave.
Hunt Stand app.
Oh, there it is. So, hardly ever do you see these hot seats anymore unless somebody has a shanty somewhere and they're sitting on that bad boy. Now, my dad always had one. I mean, all the way up to his last hunt, he always had one of those babies clipped to his belt, and he'd be sitting on his hot seat somewhere,
Well, you said last hunt, and it made me think he's still around. He's just not
Yeah,
hunting.
he's still around,
Yeah.
but
You said last hunt, and I think people would take that the wrong way.
Yeah, that's true. I should have reworded that, but he just turned 80 and he battled cancer and had a real bad bout of COVID and was on a ventilator and all, and he is just not able to do things like that anymore. So, yeah.
Wasn't his last hunt with me?
Off of this property. Yeah, that's probably the last place he traveled to was when we went to the farm. But he did numerous hunts here at the shanty. So, yeah.
And he ended up on TV.
And he ended up on TV because you made him.
I made him Mr. Wendell famous.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Epic.
How about the old black and red checker Woolrich? Or green and black checkers, for that matter. They have two different colors.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole Woolrich suit, and I like to get it out once a year, and I wear it. A lot of times I'll wear it the first day of bear and just put on the orange vest and the orange hat. That old Woolrich, man, I still love it. But you don't see it very often anymore unless you get an old timer out there, But one other thing this goes along with when I said the cell phone changed the world. A watch, a wristwatch. Not too many people wear wristwatch anymore unless it's a smart watch, one of those new ones. I don't know what you call those. Are they Apple Watches or something? What do they call those things, Dave?
I have an Apple Watch. I
You got
just
an
don't.
Apple Watch.
I don't wear it all the
You don't wear it
time.
to, yeah, but you don't wear it to look at the time, do you? I mean,
No.
that's not
I
why you're
use
wearing it.
honestly the only time I wear it is when I go on hikes, so that it tracks my distance and heart rate
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Okay. Gotcha. How about the old bullet bandolier? I don't know. I'm assuming the explanation behind this is in the older days, they didn't have very dependable scopes and things, I guess. And a lot of people was open sights, old 30-30s and things like that, and y- I'm assuming they just carried a lot of bullets because there was going to be a lot of misses,
Hmm.
because that's not real accurate open sights.
Hmm.
I know there are some people out there that are accurate open sights, but I was not one of them. I recall the day that my father took me out, and that was the first year I owned my 30-30. And this is back when we had deer now. We had lots of deer back in the day, over 50 deer. And they took me out doe hunting, and I, open sight, shot a whole box of shells. And he was so upset with me because we had to drive back in town and buy more shells because I sucked. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if I was standing inside of it.
Hmm.
But
You
anyhow,
you uh you gonna let me pick something, or you gonna hog all the
well,
air? You
yeah,
gonna
I mean, I'm hogging the time. So they had those belt bandoliers. You just jammed a bunch of bullets in them, and
you're hogging all the air time.
I'll give you 1 minute. Go ahead.
Well, I got one thing here, and then you can keep
See,
going.
he's got one thing. No wonder I'm hogging the time.
I got more, but this is
Oh,
just
okay.
something I physically have.
Okay.
It's in this container. It's in this flap here.
Okay.
If you open this up, this thing's 25 years old.
Ancient like you.
It is called a Game Finder, and it's made
Oh,
by, I don't know, I guess Game Finder, but it was Huntsville, Alabama, made in the USA. Now this thing is a handheld infrared detector, and they
ah,
made these things 25 years ago. I remember I was a kid, I had to have it. My parents got it for me for Christmas, and it does work back then. You basically, if you would shoot something, a deer, you turn this thing on, and these lights come across the top, and you could sit there and scan the woods. And every time you scan it, these bars would light up red. The more bars you have, the more of a heat signal that it's picking up.
nice.
So you could sit there and go like this, and every time you find something heated, it would light up, and you go toward that. And
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I found a lot of deer with this thing,
Huh.
and it still works to this day. But I haven't used it in 25 years. I mean,
Oh, wow.
you have a blood trail or something, you don't need it. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just they came out with it years ago, and everybody was buying them. A lot of people that I knew was buying
Right.
them, and Cabela's sold them specifically, and it worked. But I mean, I don't see anybody using them these days. But
No.
um,
You know what I thought that was? I
mm,
thought that was going to be your blood tracking light. That's another thing
yeah,
people aren't
they,
using anymore. Remember, it
yeah,
had a green and a red beam
yeah,
together or something like that?
yeah. I've had them, and honestly,
Did it
that
work?
they no, I've
No.
had every brand you can think of when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, my second thing is I don't have one with me here, but is how many times have you seen back in the day a blood trailer, or not a blood trailer, but somebody shot a deer tracking one, would use a lantern.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
a lantern lights up that blood very, very nice, and allows you to see that blood. A lantern. Now people just use regular flashlights.
yeah.
But lanterns back in the
Yeah,
day,
that's a
man,
thing from the past too. Yeah.
yeah, they would those lanterns would pick up that blood super easy. But now, people are just convenient and stuff. You just have
Yeah.
a pocket flashlight or something, but
Huh.
don't count out the lantern for tracking blood.
No, I've used it before. I've tried it.
Hmm.
So,
Now it's your turn,
okay.
since
Well,
you want to hog the airtime.
yeah, I'm going to hog some more time. I got lots of them. So, one of the things I alluded to earlier also was the walkie talkie or the two-way radio. Cell
Hmm.
phones ruined that one too. So, you know, part of the problem is, and well, it still is a problem with the phone, is the reception though.
Yeah.
Like there was times like I was on I was in one valley and there was a hillside between us, and a buddy would be down the other side of the hill,
Mhm.
and we couldn't have a conversation.
Mhm.
But these things were good for 2 miles, But I mean, you get that with your phone too, depending on where you're at. But
Yeah.
yeah, the walkie-talkie, that wasn't. I mean, it worked good if you had a flat piece of land or something.
Yeah. The good thing about the unlimited, well, I mean, some people still use walkie-talkies, but the good thing about phones and technology is like my iPhone I just
Mhm.
got, it's the newest one, but when it loses signal, when you don't have cell signal, it picks up GPS or satellite.
Okay.
So if it runs out of signal, it automatically will connect to a satellite to
Oh,
allow you to still text. You can't get on like the internet, but it'll allow you to text and make a phone call for like an emergency situation.
okay.
So that's
That's a
how
cool feature.
far advances came, And if somebody else has an iPhone that picks up GPS, you guys or satellite, you guys can still text
I
back and forth.
gotcha.
I like it. I like it because most times I hunt alone. So if I have, knock on wood, but if I have an emergency situation and I don't
Mhm.
have cell service, I can connect a thing to a satellite and still be able to
Right.
uh, radio for help.
Yeah.
So it
Okay.
that's a cool feature.
So a couple of things I thought about too was some of the clothing. I touched on the Woolrich stuff earlier.
Hmm.
Um, but how about the old red union suit with the buttons in the back, the flap? People used to put the flap down and take a dump.
Not
Remember
sure
those?
not
The
sure I'm
long
familiar with
underwear
that.
with the flap in the back?
Oh, oh,
That's
oh,
called
yeah,
a red
yeah,
union suit.
yeah. Okay. Yep.
I had to have a pair of them a couple years back. I
I can
bought some of them.
I can see you wearing that.
I didn't like it. Okay, regular old pack boots. Remember the old insulated pack boots?
Hmm.
I think my dad wore them all the way up to his last hunt too, man. He swore by them, you
Right.
know. And actually, I have tried a lot of rubber boots and things here in the past couple years,
Hmm.
and still have trouble. And that was one of our podcasts. Still have trouble keeping my feet warm.
I think that was the last
And
podcast.
yeah, and then just recently, some of you know that my boy's been feeling better. He has severe Crohn's, and he's been feeling better. And I've been able to take him out some this year hunting. And I was like wondering, what's he going to wear on his feet? Because he was wearing in archery time, he was wearing just uninsulated rubber boots. And lately, it's been in the teens here, and we've been out hunting. And I dug out this old pair of pack boots that I had, and I said, "Here, put these on."
Hmm.
He said, "Dad, these are the only boots that ever kept my feet warm."
Hmm.
He said, "These things work great." I'm like, huh, maybe I should be wearing them still.
Right.
So he likes them. He likes them. So he's doing
Good.
okay that way.
I got another one
Okay, go for it.
since you're hogging the airtime.
I got lots of them.
Now this one, maybe people still use them. I do not because I have a story about it, but it's the old hunter specialty coffer.
I haven't seen one of
So
them. The muffler like thing, huh?
yeah, so if you got a cold or you got a cough or something, you can sit there and cough in this thing, and it does suppress it. And if you open it up, it's literally just a piece of foam that's in there. Um, but Hunter Specialties make it. It's called the Cough Killer,
That's
and
hilarious.
yeah, and I bought this one time when I was like maybe 18, 19, 20, something like that. I was getting over a cold or something, and I was coughing, and I wanted to go hunting during the rut, and I'm sitting in there coughing in this thing, and if you put too much pressure on it and you cough into it, it kind of it can like mess with you a little bit. And I coughed in this thing one time, and I put too much pressure on it, and it felt like I blew a blood vessel in my brain.
Mhm.
Like as soon as I was coughing into it, I felt like this massive headache, and I had this headache for like 3 days after coughing in this thing,
Mm.
like I blew a blood vessel or something, and from too much pressure in this thing. And
Mm.
that was the last time I've ever used it, and it's been sitting in my closet. But
Dude,
hey,
you should have dug that out when we did that gimmicks video.
oh yeah, yeah, I
That would
forgot
have
all
been a good
about it.
one.
But I'm
Yeah.
sure people still use them, and like I said, they do work. It does suppress the cough, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of silly, but
Yeah.
it does work.
Right. Right. Well, here's a modern twist, but already forgotten. How about aluminum arrows?
Hmm.
Aluminum arrows are a thing of the past already. You
They
know,
are.
I mean, you can hardly, if you walk in a pro shop, you can hardly find them unless
Yeah.
maybe like an indoor 3D shooter or something might be buying
Right.
them for
Right.
those big fat ones, those big, 2513s or something like that. They are,
Everything's carbon now.
yeah. Carbon's a big thing right now. So,
Hmm.
yeah, here's something you don't see very often. I know they're still used, but screw-in steps.
You stole
Um,
mine. That was my
oh,
idea.
was it? Well, screw-in steps. I mean, nowadays everything's posted or state land or public, and these aren't allowed unless you're on uh,
Private.
private land. You know, timber's a big industry right now, and they don't want stuff in the trees. Um, I
Well,
mean,
when I
it's
hung stands as a kid, I mean that's all we used was screw-ins,
yeah, and I still
and
have a bunch of them.
I have a bunch too. But to be honest with you, they are dangerous.
Mm,
They're dangerous to. I think they are. I mean, I did it when I was a kid, but I'd put a step in, I'd climb up, and I'd just hold on to the tree with one hand,
right?
screw the thing in, get on that one, and then screw the thing in. And it's dangerous. I mean, now they got good safety harnesses where you can use and
Yeah.
with lineman belts and stuff that where you can screw them in. But
Hmm.
um, I mean, I would never go back to screw-in steps. I mean,
Mm,
they suck to me. I don't like them. I think they're dangerous. I like ladder sticks going up now.
hmm.
Maybe people still use them, but
Maybe.
um, I like them, on private land to put hang up in the tree to hang my bow or
You're right.
my
Right.
my pack or something like that. But I don't like using them to climb anymore.
Well, one of the tricks I used to have is I had a cordless drill with a small drill bit.
Hmm.
I'd
Yeah.
run a quick hole and then run it in,
Yep.
you know. So how about, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good one or not, but fresh earth scent. People was always buying fresh earth scent, try to cover, use it as a cover scent or whatever. Um, why? You just kick the leaves away from the tree below you before you climb up. That's plenty of fresh earth scent. I don't know, whatever. Um, Topo maps, and there again we have your your uh,
Oh.
your phone to use. You know. Oh, here's one: wooden climbing stand. Back in the day, and I still have mine. TSS Stalker and MKM, and I don't remember what the name of their platform was. But it was the old style. It was wooden platform, and it had two bungee cords across the center for your feet to go in, and it had a metallic band that went around the tree. It was rubber coated and had a bunch of holes punched in it,
Hmm.
and you had to hug the tree and pull yourself up. Just like
That's
like
like
you're using
the
a baker stand.
Yeah, it's like the Loggy Bayou.
Yeah, Loggies had them. I mean,
I had
that's
one
what
of
they
them.
were back in the day. They was these wooden stands.
Yeah, you had to bear hug the tree and pull the
Hmm.
platform up. I had one.
Yeah, I still have one out in the garage, and if you hear me saying that I'm using a climber, that's what I'm still using. But I don't use climbers. I'm too old for that crap.
You didn't use that when you went sick on, did you?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I used Hawk helium sticks, and I used a
I hang
Loggy
on.
Bayou cheap seat because
Okay.
it's light. But okay, what else? How about iron sights or ghost sights, peep sights, whatever you call them, rear sights?
Hmm.
A lot of people. I mean, unless you're bear hunting close quarters or whatever, a lot of people don't use that anymore. I mean, they
Hmm.
use the iron sights obviously for muzzle loading and stuff, flintlocks and things, but
Hmm.
that was a thing from the past. Um, how about the old survival knives, the old buck knife or whatever? Remember the big long Bowie knife thing? You had the compass on the top and fish hooks and stuff in the. Yeah, is that your survival kit
What
there?
about a
A
multi-use?
multi tool.
Yeah, you don't see many people with them anymore.
No,
This thing's old.
I've never ever owned one of them.
That's made
Never.
by Winchester there.
I've never ever owned a multi-tool.
Yeah, I use them sometimes, but I
Yeah.
just had that sitting there.
Huh. Got
Put
any
your
more?
finger in there.
No.
Come on,
Got pull your nose hairs with that.
right?
You got any more? Because I got a couple.
Keep going.
Then we'll be done.
Since this is your show, you hogged the entire time.
Hogged the whole entire time.
He stole the show.
How about? Oh, here's one. Something that you don't see anymore. The old metal licenses or cardboard. Our tags in Pennsylvania used to be a sheet of cardboard about as big as this sheet of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd rip a tag off this cardboard and you'd put that in a deer's ear. That's a thing of the past now. Now they have whatever this material is, mylar or whatever this stuff is they're made out of now,
Right.
weather resistant and that thing. But yeah, they used back in the day there was metallic ones, and then they went to cardboard, and so that's a thing.
I got a really good one.
Okay.
I got a really good one. It's check-in stations
Oh.
that aren't around anymore.
Mm.
Now it's not obviously not it's not a thing you use, but check-in stations, man. Like you
Right.
had to physically take your deer to a check-in station,
Mhm.
and I mean that's how it was when I was growing up. And you would go there, people would be lined up to check their deer in. You get to meet people and talk about stuff. Now
Mhm.
it's all online. You check your deer online, and the online, like when they come out with these deer numbers, this certain amount of deer was killed. In my opinion, it's nowhere close to what. It's not an accurate number
No.
because you can cheat the system.
Yeah.
You know, people lie and say they shot a doe or something, didn't shoot it, whatever it is. But I don't think it's accurate.
Mm.
From having to, from check-in stations. But
Right.
it put a lot of them small little hunting shops out of business.
Yeah, I could see
So
that. I could see that.
yeah, that just popped in my head. But yeah, check-in
Yeah.
stations.
Well, keep thinking because I got a couple more. Slug guns. Um, I know people still use them. I know there's still needs for them in certain areas. Slug guns and muzzle loaders and things can be used in certain areas. Like when I lived in Pittsburgh in 2B, I could use a slug gun down there. But
Maryland's a slug gun state.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know there's instances for them, but it's just not popular demand anymore.
Right.
When we were kids, um, pumpkin ball, the old
Hmm.
Remington Slugger.
Hmm.
That's what we used. We would use. Dad had single shot shotguns, and that's what we'd use. Us boys had like 20 gauge shotguns and things, and the old pumpkin ball.
Hmm.
But it's not in big demand. How about 16 gauge ammo? That's getting
I
hard to find.
I have one.
I have a
I
16 gauge single shot, and
I do too.
that's what Logan carries when he goes turkey hunting with me.
Yep, I
Thing's
got
a
a 16 gauge slug gun.
that thing's a hammer. 16
Yep.
gauge single shot, and you can put sluggers in there too, and it shoots pretty fairly good
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
You
My
know,
who gave me that? I think it was my uncle gave it to me.
and that 16 gauge it's the same thing as a 12, basically.
You know what's weird about mine is I don't know if there's something wrong with it or what, but I can't hit anything with the thing. You put a slug
Really?
in there, I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that thing.
Oh, this one we have, it's pretty dang accurate, man. Well, last year, do you remember? Did I shoot? No, I didn't. That was a 22 I shot that with. I was going to say I shot that coyote out back with it, but I
Hmm.
didn't. I used a 22 on it. I used the shotgun on a groundhog that kept digging under camp, and he was too quick for me to get with the 22. To get the gun up and get on him, and so I took the 16 gauge to him. One day I snuck up there up the driveway, and he started running, and I just
You killed
and
Punxsutawney Phil.
oh man, it anchored him right now. 16 gauge is awesome. I like it. I really
Yeah.
do, and they're hard to find.
Kicks
Um,
too.
yeah, it'll boot you pretty good because single shots are light. So, what about And I know there's a certain genre out there for this too, but long bows or
Hmm.
recurve bows, because that's all they used to have. And then they came out. Bear came out with with the bear with all the cables and pulleys and
Fred Bear.
yep, they came out with all that stuff and I mean, people still use them.
Yeah.
Guy at work, his cousin shot a nice 10-point this year with an old longbow.
Hmm.
I mean, literally stick and string. I mean, literal. And I respect that. What else? How about the whistle? In case you got lost in the
Hmm.
woods, you'd
Yeah.
carry a whistle. And for that matter, we can just roll this all into one. Is the emergency kit? You know, the 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 reflective blanket and the waterproof matches and the compass. All that can be rolled into one. Hey, who carries an emergency kit anymore?
That's something
I
you need because you get
yeah,
lost all the time.
I would if I had to rely on a compass and a topo map. I'd be done. I have to have my phone, and the phone don't work half the time anyhow.
Because you got to upgrade to a new phone.
Yeah, I do need to upgrade,
One day you
but
will. One day you'll become a
yeah,
man and get a real phone.
I don't know. Not anytime soon because I got too many bills. But what
There we
else?
go.
Got anything else? I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me something. Give me
I got.
you just sitting back doing nothing. Do something.
Here's one.
What?
Nobody walks anymore to their stand. They ride e-bikes. What happened to walking?
Oh man.
What happened to walking?
Yeah. Well, I agree 100% because
You know, hear me out here. Like, I have an e-bike. I do, but I don't use it unless we go sika hunting. That's
right.
really literally the only time I hunt. Dude, back in the day, years ago, I carried the stackable, climbing stand,
Yep.
with a backpack and a bow, and I walked miles back in the woods. And then you shoot a deer, you got to drag the thing out. It sucks, right?
Yeah.
And nowadays, like, people just complain, "Oh, I'm not hunting there if I can't use an e-bike," or, "I can't do it." Dude, go walk.
Yeah.
What happened to walking? You know what I mean? Like, it's because everything is convenient nowadays. It's just everything's at your disposal.
yeah.
And I get it 100%. But
Yeah.
let's bring back walking. Walking.
Yeah. Well, for instance, remember I told you that 6,000 acre lease down here,
Hmm.
um, and side by sides and ATVs are allowed on it. Blah blah blah. Well, they send out a disclaimer. No pleasure riding during hunting. That just upsets everybody. Blah blah blah. But you're still allowed to use your side by side and ATV to get in to go hunt. Well, guys just ride right up to their stand and get off the bike and climb a tree stand that they set up.
Hmm.
Because if you can ride to an area like that and set up a ladder stand, why wouldn't you? I mean, I would do it. I would probably do it if I had a side by side and a ladder stand. I'd put that ladder stand in the bed of that thing and find a good spot and prop it up against a tree, and I'd ride right to that ladder. But I would be just as bad as them because everybody says, "Oh, that don't bother the deer." Well, I think that you could probably fool 2 or 3 year old maybe, but I think the big boys know better. They hear that, they stay hunkered down or they go elsewhere. I don't think you're gonna, I mean, every once in a while, blind squirrel finds a nut, but uh, I think the big boys are smarter than that
Hmm.
on average.
Yeah. So I just got this text, and I don't know if it's from YouTube. So if it's from YouTube, most likely people are watching this podcast, but they said, "Hey, I found your channel. Oh, it is from YouTube. And I would really like your help for making a plan on our newly leased property. I'm in Louisiana,
Mm.
and I'm just getting into deer hunting. Let me know if you're interested."
Whew,
I'll respond back, but I do not go to Louisiana.
that is far.
Yeah. I wouldn't go there unless it's like a major project. So yeah,
You'd have to
I
quit
do
your
not.
job.
Yeah, I do not consult in Louisiana.
Oh,
My main areas are PA, Ohio, Kentucky. Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey, Delaware. That's really the only places I want to go. So
Well, with that being said, let's wrap it up.
wrap it up.
Say something.
Say something.
Okay. So these are things from the past. I just figured we'd change it up and make it fun. I thought that was interesting. Let's be engaging, folks. There you go. Use that sucker. Let's be engaging. Comment below and tell us some things that you thought of as we was doing this podcast.
See you on 104. Hey, we only got like what, two more before the end of the year?
Yeah. A couple
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
We'll be on episode 3. Or year 3, I should say.
Year 3, correct.
We'll be on year 3. And maybe
Nice.
Dave will come up with something. I don't know.
Like the last 47 episodes I've came up with. All right, we'll see you on 104.
Yep. Comment below what you want to hear next. See